Did you know that the pet care industry is a billion-dollar industry and it is continuously growing? But are the people who care for your pets growing as well? I'm Dara Forleo, and on the business of pet care, we are going to talk about what really goes on behind the scenes of those grooming tables, those daycare walls, and those social media filters. Professional pet grooming in India is growing fast, and it's growing fast everywhere. But growth alone has never just created the standards. There needs to be training, safety, handling, business structure, and groomer welfare, and this all shapes whether this industry matures or doesn't. Today, I get the pleasure of speaking with Jessica John. She is founder and mentor of PetSwag Pet Grooming Academy in India, and this is all about building grooming education, raising professional standards, and preparing the next generation of groomers for the realities of what this industry is coming to. And you know me, I'm Dara Forleo. I own the whole Pet Grooming Academy, and to talk to another Academy owner is so amazing to have this connection. Jessica, I am so excited to have you on today. How are you?
I'm so excited to be here as well.
This is
amazing opportunity.
It is. I know the time difference and everything is huge, but your training and everything you are doing is. I watch it. I'm like, I love it. Congratulations on everything.
Thank you. Just today, I had 4 students graduate.
Oh, even better. Yay. Oh, that's amazing. We tick them off too. It is so much fun watching them and then seeing what they do out there. When you look at the grooming industry today, where do you see the biggest gap between not just the demand, but the professional training as well?
So when I started about 10 years ago, there was nothing available, right? In India, it is a growing market still. And pet grooming is still not getting all the importance it should get as of today as well, just because of lack of awareness. Or rather, I'd like to put it, too much awareness sometimes. So the majority gap that we see is that pet grooming is not given the importance it deserves.
Yeah. It's not just, it's everywhere.
Yes. So I think across the other part of the world, I think, but our problems are still the same when it comes to pet grooming. This is one such industry where, pets across the world, we are facing the same problems. Like I follow so many groomers on Instagram, thanks to the technology today. And most of the groomers are speaking about the same problems, irrespective of where they are.
It is so true that we are. I see it too. And I know we have a lot of mutual contacts and connections, and we need to come together. There needs to be more community amongst us as educators. How did you get your start? I'm interested to see how you took, because your background is very robust.
So when I began, I was always inclined towards science and biology as a student. So I had taken up in my graduation, I'm a bachelor's in zoology. So I always had an inclination towards, animals and pets, but I was never allowed to have one growing up because I had working parents and there would be no one to take care. So the year my mother retired, I thought would be a good idea to get my own golden. And before that, I was doing everything possible. I was in IT in my last job. But I somehow always wanted to, do something around dogs. That's where my heart belonged. So when I got my golden retriever, I was struggling. Like every weekend used to feel like a war when I had to sit in my bathroom and give my dog a bath. And when I tried to find good grooming salons or options around, there weren't any. So that's how I began. And I always wanted to get out of the corporate job life, but I didn't have a direction. And in India, there weren't a lot many schools doing pet grooming or teaching pet grooming. And whatever I learned from a pet grooming studio in Bangalore. And I traveled. I stayed there for 1.5 months away from my home, and I actually got into the show ring before I got into grooming, because my a friend of mine happened to see my golden. And yeah, a friend of mine happened to see my golden and tell me that, oh, your golden looks like a show dog. And I really didn't know what show dog meant. And because I thought, you take him to some show, you make him wear some clothes and, do a walk or something like that. I had no clue about what confirmation dog shows are.
Confirmation. That's funny.
Yeah. So I had no idea what a confirmation dog show is. I had no clue what a show dog is, or anything of that sort. So when my friend saw him, he was already doing this and knew people in the industry. And when I went, I was like, listen, I don't have the money to pay a handler to show my dog. I'm just like I don't even know what I'm doing. So he said, "Oh, you know what? I'll train you to just, take your dog in the ring and a few basic things. And your dog is already like he's brilliantly behaved, so it should be easy." And I remember I was showing him under a judge from Australia, Miss Joy McFarlane. And the first show, the first ring, and he got his first CC. So I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." And then I was like, okay, so this could be my entry into the dog world, and this is what I could do. Two
Mhm.
shows down the line, and I realized this is not what I can do because there was just so much traveling involved. And because in India, not like if you're showing your dog in India, traveling with your pet in India is a struggle. And every
Okay.
time taking taking the dog by flight or by train is a little difficult. And since the industry, there are not a lot of women who are doing this in India in the shoring, so it does become
Mhm.
very difficult. So then I was like, okay, so when I went to the dog show, I saw a few groomers grooming their Shih Tzus and doing these pretty top knots. When the toy group was shown, and I saw a very pretty Bichon, and I was like, wow, like what are they doing? How do these dogs look like this? And that's when I sort of asked them, like, what is it that you can do?
Transitions.
And I got, yes. And that's how I sort of got into the whole dog grooming game. And I was like, wow, this is something I think I can stick to for the rest of my life.
It is funny. I mean, it just is. They, I don't even know. They just hit you, right? It's like how I can't remember the first dog show I went to, but I do remember it was a very large one in Louisville, Kentucky, and it was just so overwhelming. There were so many breeds, so many dogs, so many rings, and it was like, wow, yeah, I can imagine what it. I've never competed. I showed horses, kind of same thing, just a little different, but crazy how they just come right to us. How so you did the dog shows and then started doing your own training or learning on your own? How would that next step look like?
So I looked up a few videos on YouTube, and when I used to groom my dog at home, I knew how to do a basic bath. But then, there were people who would come up to me and tell me that, oh, you know what, your dog feels really hot in the summers, and these are people I meet in the vets clinic, who have had dogs for the past 10, 15, 20 years. And they're like, oh, no, your golden needs a shave down, and this. And then, and when I read about it on Google, I was like, the Google said that, oh, your dogs need not be shaved, their coat is there for protection. And I was like, okay, what is happening? because even on Google there are so many I feel somehow because there's so much information available out there, it's so easy to get confused. So then what is the
Is
right or the wrong way
so
to approach this?
that is so
So
true.
easy
And
to
you
get
just don't know as a new groomer what's right, what's wrong, because it's so opinionated still.
yes.
It's very interesting. All right, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to be right back because we're going to continue this conversation and talk about just keep this going. I like this. We will be right back. Welcome back to the business of pet care. Jessica's work not only sits at the intersection of grooming, education, behavior, safety, science, everything. She is truly amazing, which is exactly where the future of professional grooming really needs to go. And I think her and I agree 100% on that. How does, well, first I want to ask about your students and how did you we went through the transition, we did dog shows, we had you training and learning everything, and now this, like you said, Google is so overrun and just you just don't know who to trust anymore. So how have you developed that trust to get your student body flowing and the training down and the school open?
Okay, so when I started working on things that I didn't have when I started, so I realized that when I began about 10 years back to today, a massive growth has happened in terms of the number of dogs that we see. And that said, there's also a lot of misinformation floating around. That hasn't changed. So when COVID hit, a lot of dogs were, as companion dogs, a lot of dogs were bought. And with that rose the number of groomers also.
Yeah.
And today I feel that, so when we talk about my students, most of them are coming from a background. So when they come for an inquiry to me, they are talking about mostly, the numbers that, oh, you groom one dog, you make so much money. And that's the kind of mentality where most people come from. And,
Yeah.
where people think that this is a money making business. And since we're talking about the pet care business part of it, I always tell my students that this is not, if you want to make profits, you're in the wrong place. You really can't start. Which is not very good for my business.
Nobody gets into this business to make money. I mean, it is definitely a tough industry to make money in as a service
Yeah.
industry. But I think we've done that to ourselves. We have that conversation a
Yes.
lot about the finances that come, the financial just the pricing and how people are pricing their structure. And I know this is totally going maybe a different way, but a lot of groomers don't know how to properly price themselves and how to price their grooming. You can't be the same as Sally down the road. I talk about it with my students all the time.
Most students come from this approach where they think that, oh, you know what, I don't like doing a job. I saw this, I had gone to a groomer with my dog or my cat, and they charged me 2,000, and I'm like, I'm doing the math. So let me talk, let's say $100 a groom, okay, in for calculation purposes for you. And then they're like, oh, then I groom 10 dogs, and it's like $1,000 a day, and they're like, wow, it's a lot of money. And then I'm thinking in my head that, if this is the intent behind you starting, you are going to fail from the beginning, because money is not going to come the first few years. And
Yeah.
whatever you have to keep investing. It's a craft. So whatever money you make is going to go outright investing again in your business, just like any other business. But in pet grooming, what's different is there's a lot of, you're not dealing with anything that is materialistic. You're dealing with a life, right? So one
Yeah.
mistake can ruin your career. And in the
Very,
process of, like
very.
I
It's
yeah.
amazing how quick that can ruin a career.
Yeah. So the whole aspect or the whole approach towards pet grooming has to move from making money to, being there for pet parents and pets. Because the way the market is growing, pet parents want a groomer they can trust. They
Yeah,
don't care if their pets look perfect. And I have learned that with time. And if you're doing your job right, the money is gonna come. If you're
that's what
doing
they
this for the
say.
money, then it's not going to go very long.
Yeah, that's what
Yes.
we hear. That's what they say. And yeah, we do it because we're passionate about the animals. I think that's been a little questionable in some of the practices that I see going on social media, but when you come in with passion, when you come in with drive, when you come in with the animal's well-being first, people are going to talk about that and take notice of that.
So I keep telling my students time and again. So when I get an inquiry, and I tell the students that if you're doing, if you, the whole idea of you starting this is because you think or you look at the numbers that social media is showing you, or, that, oh, look how much I make as a dog groomer in NYC. Or look how much I make as a dog groomer running my own grooming van. And I'm like, then you're self employed. You are not running a business. If you are doing one, only by yourself, if you're working, you're not running a business, because the day you are not working, you're not making any money. So
That
I
is
talk
true.
about building systems from the very beginning,
Yeah. That is
which no one told
that
me.
nobody teaches that though. I mean, I talk
Yeah,
about
nobody
systems all the
does.
time, but nobody else talks about it. It's like, let's make this head round. How many videos, how many times can we learn how to make a round Bichon head? It's like that's not the yeah, there's more to it than just the end result. Hmm. Gonna have to
Don't understand.
bring that thoughts process around. So teaching the systems is another mutual uh, thing that we both do.
And so that when you asked about the student flow and how I go with things, is I
Yep.
teach students from the very beginning. The focus should not be on making money. The focus should be on working with the dog in front of you, at the same time building a system around your business, not just focusing on doing so many dogs a day or making so much money. So that's how my
And how
system works. And
go ahead, keep going. Sorry.
system, that's so like I said earlier, that I had a lot of gaps when I learned. Like, people are talking about how many dogs you can do, and how round will your face or your the butt be of the dog, and
Yep.
how good the finish will be. But no one is talking about how your body is going to degenerate with every dog that you do. And no one is talking about the mental health of a dog grooming professional. Everyone's talking about mental health when it comes to corporate jobs and things like that, but nobody's talking about mental health of professionals who are working with animals. Because here you are dealing with someone who's not going to talk for himself or herself, and the stress that comes with it is enormous, and people don't understand that. So you don't have to just work on your skill, you have to work on setting up a business, setting up a system. So it takes a lot of you mentally and physically, because when you're standing for long hours without taking a break, it is your bones, your muscles, everything is, going for a toss. And so no, I don't think most dog professionals know what to do when it comes to an aggressive dog. They are just figuring out with the groom. And same goes with understanding first aid. So if a dog is choking, do you know what to do? So what I
Yeah.
have done is, in my system, I have incorporated all of these things, and I have hired professionals who work with me on mental health, on basic physiotherapy and taking care of your own health while you're working, and aggression specialist and a veterinarian. So this is, when I am teaching, I'm not just teaching you how to achieve a shape or how to do a perfect groom or what is a breed standard. I am working on your well being along with your dog's well being.
I absolutely love that. I think that is amazing. You are probably the first person I have heard that brings in such highly specialized people to teach like that in your school, and not try to do everything yourself, because we know we can't do everything ourselves. We can't be experts in everything. And I think that's a challenge that a lot of people in our industry run into, thinking they have to do all the teaching, they have to have all the knowledge, and nobody else can teach it but them. Oh, I
I was
think that's
talking
such
about the
a
groomer's lung.
yeah, yeah,
Everyone
yeah.
is talking
Well,
about carpal tunnel, but nobody's talking about cervical health. Nobody's talking about your lower back health. So that's what I incorporate in the program.
yeah, yeah. No, I want to get more into that and talk about that. Where can people find you? We want people to be able to look you up and see what you do, and how great your school is.
Yeah. So, do you want me to share my Instagram handle or my website?
You can, if you just, where they can find you on LinkedIn, your name, if you're on Facebook, your social media. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So, our social media, Facebook page and Instagram page is petswag.in.
Have that, but we're going to take a quick break and we will be right back. Welcome back to the Business of Pet Care. Want more of what you're watching? Stay connected to every one of our Now Media TV favorites and the Business of Pet Care, live or on demand. Download the free Now Media TV app on Roku or ISO for bilingual programming in English and Spanish. And you can always catch the podcast at nowmedia.tv. Now Media TV is streaming around the clock, ready whenever you are. And we are back. Jessica, I love it. I love how you break up the school. How did you bring and implement this into the training and into your program when you brought in these experts from outside the industry?
Okay. So when I started teaching, I obviously didn't have these people on board. When a few of my first students graduated, I used to, like you said, I used to think that I have all the knowledge and, I can share what knowledge I have. But I realized with time that it's not enough, the knowledge that I'm giving out. And also, on the other hand, the importance of having a professional on board not just makes all the difference, but it also makes my program stand out from all the
Mm-hmm.
programs
Yeah, it really
today.
does.
Because Yes, because when a professional is trying to start his journey, it'll be so much better when they have all the knowledge to start with, instead of just, firing blind. Or instead of, like, for example, when I started off, all these things were not a part of my program. So the first time I had an accident, or the first time, I was stuck at a situation or had a backache, for example, I didn't know what I was doing wrong. I kept pushing through until I landed in a hospital, and I had to take a break physically from grooming for at least 15 days, 15 to 20 days. And that's when I realized that it is, I mean, had people told me this at the beginning of my career, while I was in my early 20s and 30s, I could have taken so much more care of my body, and I could have been so much better than who I am today, not just physically, but mentally. And I could have handled so many situations that I went through in such a better way, rather than just being clueless about what I'm doing and learning on the go and doing a mistake to learn from it. How about not do mistakes? Or how about be completely prepared if a mistake happens? Or how to take care of your body better. Like everybody is talking today about on the internet on how to lose weight and how to look better and how that boosts your confidence. But nobody's talking about how amazing it feels when you've done 4 or 5 dogs and you don't feel tired, because your body knows how to cope with it, because you've started your day with a great workout, because you've done a stretch between 2 dogs that you are supposed, so that your next dog you are more, because when you're physically tired, it's going to affect the groom quality also. As much as you would like to say that it doesn't, it does.
I That's amazing. That really is, people don't think about that in terms, because you're right. Those are the things. I love that you said, why why learn from mistakes? It's figuring out how did you vet the people. I say vet, but how did you decide and choose to bring the right people in? And was this as you were going through the process? You said 20 days from being out of work for a back injury, and you're the only one on the floor. How do you recoup from that if you don't have emergency savings?
So, how did I bring these people on board? Is I had to search. So, first of all, the person I'm working with right now is the physiotherapist who works with me. So she's a specialized physiotherapist. She's done her specialization. She's a sports physio. So she works with people who deal with sports injuries. And she said that your injuries are very similar to sports injuries, like a tennis elbow or a carpal tunnel syndrome or cervical compression, because we are, bending and, doing all the possible things that our spine is not supposed to do or not equipped to do. And we have dogs putting their weight on us. So these are all problems that, or injuries that come from sports are very similar. So she was my physio, and I worked with her personally. And then one fine day I was like, listen, I have students who are going to face these same problems, and I tell them what to do and a little bit of what I know. But how about you come on board with us and you explain things that they are supposed to do between grooms, before starting their day and after ending their day, so that they don't, they're not where I am today. So that's how I got my physio on board. Then
And
the therapist.
how long does she teach? How long is that part of the
So
program?
they are doing, so what we've done is we can't spend too much time on this. So we
Yeah.
have them coming and doing a 1 day workshop, each of them. So,
Okay. Okay.
so
That's
if at all any of my students want to follow through, they can go in one on one. So now they know where to start. Or if they have already started and they are facing a problem somewhere, they can reach out to these professionals directly. So these professionals are
okay.
available. Their contacts are shared with the students, and the students can reach out to them one on one. It can be therapy. It can, so the mental health therapist who is there on board, she talks about if at all you're feeling overwhelmed, or like we know that dogs work on emotions and we tend to reflect our emotions off of dogs. So how do you a few breathing techniques she's taught us that we sort of practice before we start our day or in between a difficult groom. When I'm grooming an aggressive dog and I'm losing my mind and I don't know what to do, she's taught me a few techniques where, I could, they're also called yogic mudras in India. And they're like quick 5-minute breaks that you can just go find yourself a chair, sit in the chair, do these five to count five, like 1 to 20, do these breathing
Yeah.
exercises, and your mind resets.
That's so crucial to even think about all those things. And when you're doing this, so they come in, they do their day workshop. Are you consistently, and I'm assuming you're going to say yes, but making sure that this is part of the daily, I don't want to say the daily grind, but the daily process that the students are working through, so that you have that and you're teaching that consistency and developing them into those habits.
Yes, of course. So when these sessions happen, I tend to do these sessions at a gap. So if I have a 30-day program or a 45-day program, I do the sessions like 10 days, 20 days, one session. Then I keep the medical and first aid session towards the end of the program, because by now they have groomed a few dogs and they know what possibly can go wrong. While I teach them basic first aid, and then at like the end of the program, the veterinarian comes in the picture, and he teaches the exact pathway to follow if an accident or an injury happens. Same goes with aggression. So I teach a little bit, and then the aggression specialist comes on board, and he talks about understanding body language, how to get a dog from 10 to at least 5 before you go in and groom the dog again, and things like that. So I keep practicing the breathing techniques that have been taught. I try and practice them with my students before the start of each day.
Yeah, and then keep them in that focus. It's funny, one thing, when the first time you and I connected, you mentioned that sometimes you have, was it like up to 100 different languages that you are going between, and you yourself speak, was it 4 or 5?
About 5.
That's you're busy. Because you said that within even just like a small radius of your location, there are multiple different languages that you have to keep and try and learn yourself as new people are coming in.
So just in my building where I live, there are about let's say 20 floors, and each floor has about 6 to 7 apartments, and every floor we speak at least 4 different languages.
That's amazing.
So yeah.
Figuring and working through that, and then incorporating that into the business and bringing in. I'm very impressed with you. I want one more time, give everybody a go, where they can find you, how they can connect with you. I know LinkedIn is a big one. You've been very active on that lately. Give us that information again, and we're going to take another break.
Yes, so you can find me as Jessica John on LinkedIn. You can find my academy page as petswagacademy.com. And I have already given my Insta and my Facebook handles. They are petswag.in, and my Instagram handle for my grooming academy is PetSwag Grooming Academy. So these.
Thank you so much. And coming up, we are going to talk about businesses that accidentally normalize unhealthy work conditions, because that's just how it's done. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Business of Pet Care. I'm your host, Dara Forleo. Do not miss a second of this show or any of our Now Media TV favorites streaming live and on demand anytime. Grab the free Now Media TV app on Roku or ISO, or listen to the podcast at nowmedia.tv. Now Media TV is available 24/7 streaming, so the stories you care the most about are always within your reach. And I'm excited to bring Jessica back because this is one of our favorite topics. I know we like to think about this. When you consult grooming businesses or when you're working with them, what are some of the most common operational gaps that you are seeing around you? And I bet they're everywhere.
So, yes. So I feel we will be running a little short of time discussing this one. But but let me see how much I can speak about it, a little bit at least. So talking about operational gaps, I really don't know where to start, but let me start with the most important one is not considering the pets or not keeping the pets' health and well-being as first is a major operational gap, which sort of goes into, it's like a, this tumbles down and goes into many others, which leads to all the other operational gaps. Just focusing on finishing the groom is a major operational gap that we face when it comes to the pet grooming salon, right? So everyone is just focused on doing the groom and finishing the groom. And nobody is caring about what's happening behind the scenes.
And they're more apt. So let me ask you, and I'm interested to see if our thoughts on this process align the same. Why do you think that is? What do you think it is about the industry? Because I mean, you have the exact same thing, same issues, or saying the exact same things that I see here. How is it that this industry has spread like this? And it makes me wonder if other industries have the same problems. Does that make sense?
When you say other industries, what do you like? What comes to your mind?
I'm wondering if I mean, because we focus heavily into our own, but I wonder if like other service providers, other service industries have the same gaps, and it's just shown differently. But I guess really, why do you think we have this? What do you think is the main hang up that we have, that it's the end result only?
I think the main reason that we focus on the end result is because that's how you move to the next appointment. So a lot of people who work independently or even in businesses, when I go to a salon, they want to do as many appointments as they can in one go, right? Like today, like we are keeping targets and we're not focusing on the health and well-being of the pet or what the pet is trying to communicate with us. Like even when I go to a salon myself, sometimes the services feel rushed over the weekends because they want to include or generate more revenue, let's put it like that. And in the whole process, they're forgetting that the person or the dog or the pet is there for that experience and not, for or relaxation rather, and not for just looking good. And it's just not about generating revenue. I'd rather be, full for the entire 3 months, pre-booked appointments, be full for 2 days, and then have a slack period for the next 5 or 10 days.
Okay. So businesses, what do you think separates a good grooming salon or a salon that's sustainable from one that stays dependent on that generation of get them done, as many as possible.
So what one major thing is that I have seen in India, I can specifically talk about this market and what I focus on is one, is your staff well paid and well rested? Because
Okay.
and also well paid, well rested, and are they working at the same principles that you have taught, or are they doing something of their own? So if you have, CCTV cameras, are you really monitoring their skills, or are you, keeping an eye on what they have been doing behind your back? Have you been training your staff consistently? And are you
I,
seeing
I
that what
was
you've taught is being followed?
I was just gonna go there. It's that training. We do not. We expect, and again, that training is not how you groom the dog, not how you wash the dog or how you use your blow dryers. The training is how we operate in this salon as a whole team and what our roles are. And that is pretty much non-existent across the board. I think a lot of the corporates, maybe the larger facilities, try to instill that, but you have non-groomers who are implementing these training outcomes or these training thoughts and not connecting the dots of the actual service itself and the realities of it.
One thing I would like to add here is, so whenever I have seen a lot of these corporate salon that you mentioned, the major gap is one person. Even a lot of salons that I have seen abroad, whatever I see on Instagram, is one person is doing everything. So now that's going to be very, very exhausting because one person is doing the bath and the same person is going and doing all the basic stuff. And while a lot of people believe that it's good for the dog that one person is doing everything so that the dog is comfortable with that person rather than the hands changing, I believe that when every person is taught the same thing, it doesn't matter because the dog doesn't care as long as the thing is done right. So what I have done and what I have implemented at my salon is I have a specific person assigned to doing only one single thing. So I have bathers who do only bathing. Then I have junior groomers who just do like the basic. So I have like a system set up, right? So the bathers do the
Yep.
bathing, and then the dogs go to the junior groomers who do like the basic paw hair and the ear cleaning and the nail trimming and the grinding and all of that. And then the dog moves to my senior groomer who is doing a thorough check and doing the last finishing touches and making the dog look good and feel good and making sure that the dog is leaving it on a good note, because dogs do not remember what happens in the middle, but they remember what happened in the beginning and how did they leave. So if your dog comes in happy and leaves happy, even if there is a little bit of stress in the grooming process, the dog is not going to remember that.
Huh.
But the beginning and
I've never thought about it that way, because I was going to ask, moving from to 3 different people, what that effect is on them and how that does that disrupt their psyche going from different person to different person.
they don't. So it's with my salon, it's worked really well because I make sure that all my staff is doing the same thing and they're following the same protocol. And even though it's a different person, as long as the job is done well and as long as the dog is comfortable, the dog doesn't care. And if you read a little bit on dog behavior, you will see that when the dog comes in, and if you're all happy and the dog is all happy on the table and you're interacting with the dog in the beginning and the same interaction happens at the end, the dogs don't remember what happens in between. This is how dog behavior is.
Yeah, it makes sense that that would be a strong way to move them. And through the school environment too, you've got your bathers doing what they need to learn how to do to be successful before moving to the next level and then moving on to the next level. So not everybody can go straight forward and learn everything at one time and try to work on the dog all the way through. So I love that. I love that. Where do you see the industry
All
taking a turn in the next few years?
so what I see is that there are going to be more and more dogs being added to the system, and there are more and more pet parents who are becoming more and more aware. Recently, I was, reading, somewhere where some groomer was talking about how do you handle difficult clients, right? And I was very surprised that people are okay labeling people like this. Where you're calling someone difficult because their values or their thought processes don't align with what you think. And I was a little taken aback because I'm like, if a pet parent is too concerned about their dog, they don't become difficult. Maybe they've had bad experiences before, right? So
That's
for
very
me it is yeah, so for me, there's nothing. I've never approached any client as a difficult client. I have always, looked at a situation from all perspectives and trying to understand why the pet parent has this question. Okay, or why is the pet parent? So recently, there had an incident that had happened in India where a chow chow was repeatedly punched in the face. The chow chow was
oh,
muzzled, and yes, and he was repeatedly punched in the face, and just for fun to make a Instagram reel. And after being punched in the face, he was also kicked. And this was a grooming salon. And I wonder, what led to that incident or what happened. But if I am as a pet parent seeing this happening at a grooming salon, would I be okay sending my dog to another grooming salon? So I don't
that is
think that.
I totally that is you can't we can't end on that. Oh my gosh, I know we're short on time here, but like you said, we could go on and on for this. That is awful, and that is
Yes.
exactly why we need
So
a
I
little
think
bit more
moving
of our
forward, the
voices out.
industry needs more awareness. Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
definitely.
it definitely needs more awareness, and this is a great way to talk about it. We'll come back to it. I think I see some visions here for us. Thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate you taking the time to be on the show. It was a pleasure to have you. And tell
Yes,
everyone one more time where we can find you.
it was a fun. It was so much fun being here today, and I'm so glad I found you, Dara, and we connected. You can find us on petswag.in. You can find my academy at petswag.grooming academy.com. You can find me as Jessica John on LinkedIn. So it was so much fun being here, and lots of love.
Thank you. This has been the Business of Pet Care. I am Dara Forleo. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.